Good afternoon. Welcome to Meet Me Monday. I am Karma with Lewis Acre Farm, and I am so blessed to have you here with me today. Um, I'm thankful for each and every one of you, those of you who are in chat today for the live, those of you who are listening in the background, either in podcast style or watching quietly in the background. And also those of you who are watching the replay. If you're watching the replay, I just want to thank you so very much. You are very important to this channel, my replay crew. I appreciate each and every one of you so very much. You mean the world to me. Hopefully someday you'll be able to make it to the lives and see them as they happen, be able to participate in the chat. And if not, continue watching the replay. If you are watching the replay, please be sure to hit the thumbs up and drop a comment. Let me know something that you learned about our guest in the comments, something that you would like to learn about future guests, questions that you would like me to ask during interviews. I would love to know what my audience would like to know about people that I'm interviewing. Excuse me. I apologize. I literally just got home about 15 minutes ago. Um, I had an appointment this morning and it took a little longer to get home than I expected. I am actively looking for people to come up as guests. In the description of every video, I do leave a link to the form. It's very simple. I think there's 4 or 5 little questions on there. Basically, your name, your channel name, how to contact you, like an email address or an Instagram account with that I can reach you on, some way for me to reach you so that we can communicate about scheduling an interview, and what you hope to get out of an interview. Basically just giving me a little bit of background information about you so that I can reach out and have an idea of what direction to go with an interview. I am serious. I'm actively seeking interviews. I have one more scheduled, and after that, I need more people. Meet Me Monday wouldn't be Meet Me Monday if I didn't have anybody for you to meet. So please reach out. Make yourself available. I can accommodate you if your schedule doesn't allow you to be here live on Mondays in the afternoon. We can record an interview. So I just wanted to get that out of the way at the beginning here. And now it's time to meet our wonderful, wonderful guest. Many of you do know her, and she is very active in the YouTube community. She is an incredible friend, a wonderful moderator, and just a blessing to so very many, both in the YouTube community and in her community local. I said that really weird. She's a very active blessing to her local community. How's that? So without further ado, let me bring Rebekah from Rebekah Touched by Yarn to the stage. Hi,
Hello,
how are
everyone.
you?
Oh, I'm doing great.
Awesome. I am so thankful to have you here today. This is something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and I'm just so thankful to have you here.
Yeah, it's really nice to be here and for people to get to know me better. Because
Absolutely.
not a lot of people know every. Of course, I don't even remember everything about myself. Oh, it's as your life goes on, you forget things, and it's
Oh,
okay. It's okay.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, and oftentimes as creators, we we're I got to be careful how I say this. We present ourselves sorry, my mouth is really really dry. Um we present ourselves in front of the camera, and the people that I know as creators are absolutely 100% genuine in front of the camera. But we show people what we want them to know, what we're doing for the moment. Um, on Meet Me Monday, I am an interviewer and I'm asking questions and I share little tidbits about myself that relate to the person I'm interviewing. But people don't know a whole lot about me as a person. And what I try to do on Meet Me Monday is to find out the little details that people don't really know about the creator as a person, because there's so much more to you, Rebekah, than just a creator. There's more to you than just a yarn artist. There's more to you than just a moderator. And that's what we
Definitely.
hope to learn today.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's people out there that do know that I am uh, one of 8 siblings. My parents had
Okay.
8 children. I am the last. I am the youngest. And
Okay.
there's some people that know that, not everybody knows this, but I have 2 siblings and my brother also that have passed. They are not here anymore on Earth.
Hmm.
Um, of course, our parents are gone. Our
Right.
grandparents are gone. A lot of people know that my dad, um, his mother passed away. His father then just went off the deep end, and the kids were put up in orphanages. He
That's
didn't really
tough.
talk about that.
Right.
It's and there's a part of the history that a lot of people don't know, that they had orphan trains.
Right.
And my father was one of those children.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like you get to know me. That I've always he didn't talk about it until maybe 3 years before he passed.
Mm.
It And then he went into the army. We didn't know this, but our father went into the army. When he passed, we found out that he was only in the army for 9 months.
Okay.
And then mom, when he passed, she finally told us why he was medically discharged, is because he had a brain tumor. I'm like, what? Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. And of course, us children knew that he was married before he married our mother. Um, that lady had cancer and died. They were only married 9 months, and she passed away. They were both in the military. And then my grandmother, her mother, didn't like my father because she thought he was a druggie and he was on a motorcycle. It's like, my daughter doesn't belong with someone on a motorcycle. It's come on, mom, grandma.
So many preconceived ideas
Yes.
separate people that are meant to be together.
Oh, yes, definitely. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, people. But yes, my parents were married 61 years. They were
Wow.
together until he passed away at 61 years. So I have my oldest sibling. It's hard to believe. My oldest sibling's going to be turning 80 this November.
Wow.
It's like, what? Yes. She's out in
Wow.
Washington. She's out in Washington State. So you're closer to my sister than I am.
Well, next time you drive across the country to see your
I
sister, you got to
can't.
stop in Idaho to see me.
There is no way that car could make it to Washington State. I know that. But yes,
Okay, well, when you fly over, make sure you have a layover
we'll
in
have a
Boise and
layover
I'll
in
come see you.
Idaho. Yes, it's like crazy. And she, in
Oh.
fact, went up to see another sister that lived in Everett, Washington. She now doesn't live there. She went down to, or up to Everett to see my sister Marilyn, and found out that the place she was living at wasn't feeding her enough.
Oh.
Pulled her out of there. And now she is living with her older sister and her new husband. That her husband passed away, and then she got
Mm.
remarried. So Wayne has taken in my disabled sister, and she's now living with Bernadette now, which is so nice. You know,
Oh, good.
So it's nice to have, where she took her in. She says, "Hey, you know, you're coming home. You're not staying there anymore."
That's good.
It
That's
is.
good.
You know?
You're blessed to have a large family.
Oh yes.
I had one sister, and she passed 2 years ago.
Wow. And then of
So,
course everybody knows my brother Ronald. We live here at this house that my mother bought in
uh-huh.
Columbia, and we live together. We've lived together since 2008 when she bought
Mhm,
this,
mhm,
um, and then Mom died in 2017. She
mhm,
did a quick claim deed where the house became mine.
mhm.
And Ronald's name isn't on it, but we're going to find out how much that might cost to have his name put on this. Where it's in both of our names. That not anything's going to happen to me. No, no. But yeah, it's. But yes, have.
Sorry, I'm.
It's okay. We have been. Your kittens are so cute.
They've been extremely
I don't know
ill.
how the two. I don't know how the two would do that. I do have already would feel about having a kitten in the house.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I'll tell you, um, if anybody wanted kittens and they could afford the trip to get them there, I would make sure that they got them. They're needing homes.
And I'm guessing there's probably a lot still in the shelters, if there is shelters where you live.
There's a lot of rescues and shelters. That's a topic for another time,
Yes,
uh,
definitely.
given our location and population here.
Yeah. Well, I found there is we call them community cats.
Mm-hmm.
There is a calico female
Mm-hmm.
that's at my place that
Oh,
is not fixed, and she has kittens that are outside. We can't get close to them. Yeah.
give it time.
You know, so we're probably going to be overrun. One of four, abandon them. Yeah.
If you reach out to some of the rescues, they'll come and trap them.
I have live bait traps already, which what they end up doing is you trap them, you get a certificate where they taken over to the university, they're ear notched,
Uh-huh.
and you don't pay.
It's the trap, neuter, release program.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. At least the mother, and then we could try to catch those kittens and get
Right.
them get them fixed. The bad thing is we live on a major road, you know.
Look, pitter patter's off the table.
It's
So,
unfortunate.
what you live in Missouri,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
Okay. So you've got family in Washington.
Yes.
You live in Missouri.
I have a brother in Utah.
Okay, that's real close to me.
Yeah. I have a brother in Utah. He is the second oldest of our siblings. And
Okay.
then the third one is deceased. She has children that live close to me, but they don't come and see their aunt.
Oh, that's too
It's
bad.
sad. It's sad, but they don't come and see their aunt and stuff.
Yeah.
And then we had a nephew that passed away.
Okay.
He got cancer, and two brother-in-laws. Well, no, three brother-in-laws. Three, yeah, and of course my sister Judy. Her son, Judy's son, is in Kansas. He does occasionally message me on Facebook and ask how his aunt's doing, and I tell him it's okay, everything's going fine.
Mm-hmm.
So but
So, what took you to Missouri?
my parents, when okay, this is I'm going to try to shorten this. When my sister Marilyn, she was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis. She was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
The doctors had not closed the door completely. And mom heard them say, if this baby does not get a second summer, she was 2, if she does not get a second summer, she's going to die. My mom heard that, went home to where her mom was, told them that. They had Thanksgiving and moved to California, which
Okay.
gave her that second summer. They up and moved across the country. My parents did.
Okay.
So the last 4 children, which Marilyn was born in 53, Judy was born in 56. So there was a gap between there where mom was taking care of a disabled child that
Right.
nobody knew she had. Marilyn wasn't talking, she wasn't walking, and mom just kept working with her. She
That's
finally,
awesome.
she's like, no, this is my daughter, and I'm going to do the best I can to get her talking and walking.
Mamas are fierce.
Oh, we are. We certainly
Mm.
are. You know. So Marilyn got that second summer and got better. And then, of course, the last 4 were born. So there was the first 4 and then the last 4. So we were all born in California, Southern California. Then
Okay.
I was 2 years old when we left California for Utah. So I lived in
Okay.
Utah from when I was 2 to when I turned either 11 or 12. And then we moved to Washington.
Okay. So
So,
then you've seen Idaho.
yes, I have. I
It's
certainly have.
beautiful, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So yes, I have seen Idaho. I've been in Arizona also, and I've been in Mexico, the country, as a child. We lived, went down there for my father to go fishing to feed us. When you got that many children to feed, you do what you have to do.
Right.
There's Kristen. I seen it pop up, but yeah, and then when I left school without graduating,
Okay.
and we lived in Washington at that time. And when I turned 18, my parents basically, I was still in school, but I left, and then went into Job Corps.
Okay.
I went to Oregon for 2.5 years in Job Corps, and then because I lived with my parents in '83, because I lived with them,
Uh-huh.
they flew me from Oregon. I'd forgotten that they flew me down to Texas, which I was in Texas, but not really in Texas,
Okay.
and then flew me to Missouri. I've lived in Missouri since 1983.
Wow. In
So I lived in
1983, I was living in California.
Yeah, well, in 83 is when October of '83 is when I flew to Missouri, and I've been here ever since.
Okay.
So this is the longest place that I've ever lived.
Okay.
And I came back here because my parents were here. And of course, I'm a mama's girl. Sorry.
I was too.
It's like, hey,
I was too.
so I moved back here for that and got married twice and divorced twice. And I was thinking back, okay, how long has it been since I've been single now? Since I think it was '08. Yeah, my second husband divorced me, so I left,
Hmm.
hoping he would get better, but he didn't. So okay,
Yeah.
it's like, hey, sometimes you
Okay.
have to leave.
Well, we have been live for 20 minutes and I have yet to greet our chat. So let's take a minute to greet everybody. We have Deanna from Dee's Garden Adventure. Welcome. So glad you're here. There's this lady named Rebekah from Rebekah Touched by Yarn. Don't know who she is, but. And we have Nancy from Our Treasured Home. So glad you're here. And Jaden, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. And let's see, Kendra, thank you so much for being here.
I
And
enjoy.
Ronson, long time no see, Ronson. He rode with me this morning. We stopped real quick and grabbed a bite for breakfast, and then he went with me to my appointment to help keep me awake while I drove. And it's been some long, or should I say, short nights for me with the kittens being sick last week.
Are they
So I
doing
was pretty
better?
tired. What's that?
The kitten's doing better.
They are. They're doing a lot better.
Good.
So, Kristen, thank you so much for being here. Kristen with Bella's Whisper Farmstead. Damoose, welcome. So glad you're here. And that looks like all that has
Yeah,
jumped into chat.
that's good.
And
There may be some on the
anybody in the
backside.
background, so glad you're here as well. So, let's see.
I think when you ask me that question that you asked me earlier, you're going to be surprised how my channel got named.
Okay.
It's in my about page, but I'm going to tell you what ended up happening, and I'm going to try to remember the channels that were there at my beginning and starting my channel. Of course, Scott Rambling with the Brums.
Mm-hmm.
I found him through my sister Judy, and just I was never thinking of being a content creator. Never did. I just wanted to bless people with things that I make.
Mm-hmm.
And I would go on, I'd click on lives and I'd be there like 3 times before I had asked them, I'd get to know them, get to know their chat, get to know them. And I would ask in chat, what's your favorite color? I'd do the @ sign towards the person that was doing the live.
Right.
And they would go, okay, why does she want to know that? And then they'd give it to me and I'd write it down and I would make a knitted hat for them in that color.
Right.
And then I would email them, I have a gift for you, not telling them what the gift is.
Right.
And I would send them a knitted hat at no cost to them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I wanted to do things. It was one of a channel that one of his moderators said to me, do you have a channel or do you do content? And I said, no. And he came back chiming and said, you need to.
Mm-hmm.
You need to. And I'm like, I don't think so. So then I went into other chats and people were saying, yes, you need to start a channel. You really do. So you can bless more people.
Right.
But I was on, I'm trying to think. Oh gosh. Wicked Awesome Gardener. And yes, I know how to, she's in New England and I really surprised her because I can say Wicked Awesome Gardener. She's like, what? How did you do that? I was like, damn. I was on her live, and I was trying to think of names to name my channel. And if you know Leanne at the Mennonite Farmhouse,
Okay.
she named my channel.
Oh, okay.
She put in chat, touched by yarn. And of course, I started crying. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
It's perfect.
That's how my channel got named, was by somebody else.
It's
Oh,
absolutely, it's perfect for you. It totally captures
it
your
does.
essence. It really
It's
does.
just like, and everybody gets touched by the yarn that I have touched, you know?
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's
It
just like,
it is such a gift. And it's more than just the fact that you have made something and given it.
mhm,
It goes deeper than that.
it does.
It's the fact that you've had it laid on your heart to do for that specific person in their favorite color.
Mhm.
It's the fact that you you've had it laid on your heart, and it is totally selfless, and it's intended as a blessing,
It
and
is,
you want to touch their life in some special way, you
for
know,
sure.
and it is totally a gift from God.
I
It's
feel that it is, because my mother did the same thing. She would get clothes. People would give her clothes, and then she'd find people that needed coats or a suit or something. You know,
mhm,
mine's just in a different way.
right.
You know, and it's
Yeah.
like it's amazing. You know what has transpired with starting the channel. You know, yes, I did do videos, and um, I don't upload videos anymore except for shorts, and then of
Hmm.
course I go live,
Right.
you know, and things like that, and showing people things that I've made, and you know, like I did every Sunday, I am going live at 2 o'clock Central Time, and then
Okay.
with Nancy, you know, occasionally I'll probably be up on her panel, you know, so it's not, you know, not all the time, but you know, sometimes I will be up there, you know, being on her panel and working on
Yeah.
things and things like that,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and it even goes deeper than that. You you have a ministry as well in your community.
Yes.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, I'm trying to think what you're talking about.
The hats for your
Oh, the
community?
hats. Yes. There are times that I don't really want to sell my hats, but I understand that I need to. You know, there's people that have gifted hats. I gift hats to people on other people's lives, you know, at no
Hmm.
cost. You know, and of course there's people that do send help. You know, I don't ask for it. You know, it I want to be a blessing to people. You know, I always have. Just letting people know, hey, there's somebody out there that cares. You know, so many
Right.
people that says nobody cares anymore. Oh, yes, there is. There's me.
Right.
I care about people. You know, they need to have a warm head.
Hmm.
You know, I've given hats to people that are on the bus. You know, that I've taken hats with, and just handed them to them, and they go, you don't want any money? No, please take it. You know, they're
Yeah.
homeless. They're homeless, and there's my friend Jane Doe. I just seen her name. Oh,
Welcome in, Marianne and Jane. So glad that you're here. It's nice
yeah.
to have you with us.
It's, you know, just, and of course there's Mike and Terry. they had no idea that I was about to start making them a blanket for their new trailer, which I am now. It's back in my bedroom. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, I didn't even know how. What was the strangest thing? I didn't even know how to crochet. I didn't know how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
My sister Christine taught me. I had. Have you ever seen those S-pegged looms that you can make a blanket out of?
The S shape?
The S-shaped looms that come around. You don't close them. They're basically really small pegs that you can make a blanket out of. That's 60 inches wide.
Huh.
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Let me
those.
let me see if I can. I'll grab my phone here and I'll bring it up. And I'll show you a picture of it. S-shaped knitted loom. There we go.
Now I have the broomstick.
No, this is
Uh,
a. Let me go through here. Okay. Now I'm going to bring the color down a little bit because it's going to. Okay. See that?
oh, okay.
Those looms. I made a blanket on that, and
Okay.
I didn't like what the edge looked like. I went over to my sister Christine's, and she taught me how to do a double crochet around the edge of it. And
Okay.
that's how I started learning to crochet.
Very
Then
nice.
I would go to other channels, and there's Sweet Pea Sid's Inspiration. I know I'm dropping some names of some channels, but she
Mm-hmm.
taught me. She taught me on a tutorial that she did how to do the thermal stitch to make pot holders.
Uh-huh.
So I've learned other things, and like the scrubbies that I make
I love
was
those
done
scrubbies.
was done on around new. I've got one on here right now that I'm working on this
Okay.
that I'm making. So I learned how to make these. And it's all about community. How we connect with people.
Right.
Des with Peaceful Des, she finally found a pattern of me making, as they call them, Santa hats,
Mm-hmm.
on how to make the long knitted hats that I now make because of her. It's
Oh,
all about us connecting together and learning new things, you know, and it's really great. So, I mean, the first time I made one of those Santa hats, it took
uh-huh.
me it took me 8 hours, but I now can get it down to 6 hours.
Oh, good.
So it's
Yeah.
because you get this muscle memory that you can remember how to do things.
Right.
So it's, and now I have a different style of hat that I now make that I call it the inside out hat.
Huh.
That
Okay.
basically it you do 100 rows of that hat, and basically on when you're making these, you I'm going to bring this up here, is
Okay.
you loop behind and then you come in front, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, to the 24 rows on this, and you get a drawstring because you're looping back and then you can bring it in front, you loop it back front, and it gives you a drawstring, which that's how I'm able to close these up
Right.
on both sides. Well, you can do that to a hat. Yeah,
Okay.
to a hat. And I'm able to pull that up inside so that when you've got yarn that is multiple colors, it changes as you go through that. And people can
Right.
flip them inside out. That's why I call them my inside out hats,
Oh, okay.
because you can change what the hat looks like.
Katie, her link is in the description, but we can also ask our moderator to drop the link for us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ronson.
Thank you, Ronson. But yeah, it's such a, I've learned so much more than what I used to do. Because Mike was saying, oh, all I knew is Rebekah was making knitted hats. No, I am now a crocheter of blankets. I am now a knitter of scrubbies on these little baby looms.
Right.
I now know how to make thermal stitch hot pads.
Uh-huh.
I now know how someone even taught me how to make dishcloths where you go into the back stitch where it gives a little rib where you can wash dishes with it. Someone taught me how to do that. So I'm learning so much more about crocheting and making the blankets and things like that. So it's like, oh my goodness. My horizons have been expanded big time.
Right.
And it's just so nice. You know, this
Yeah.
was, everybody knows about this blanket that I've got a picture on my phone. That was the thermal, or not thermal, but seashell stitch. That is one that I made for uh, Flash Ministries Karen
Oh,
and
okay.
and her husband Lone Cross Scotty. This is a
Oh,
California.
okay.
This is the California King blanket that I made. My very first large California King blanket that I made, and it
Okay.
only, because I'm disabled, it only took me 2.5 months to finish. That's
Wow.
that's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Just mind blowing.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "What?" It's amazing because this wasn't my first uh, seashell stitch. Trying to think of he had another channel. Uh, his mother challenged me. I never had done a seashell stitch,
Mm-hmm.
and his mother wanted a seashell seashell stitch blanket to put on herself. It was Brandon. Uh, he had another channel, and he is now Brandon Cross, and
Okay.
he wanted that blanket. That was my very first seashell stitch. I also did a baby seashell stitch, baby blanket for someone. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I'm not crazy about doing the seashell because you have to count.
Right.
It's like it's a
Yeah.
little too much for me, but
Right.
I'll probably do another seashell baby. Of course, the baby blanket that I did for oh uh, Faith, aka Grumpy,
Right. Okay.
is just it's a double crochet, half double crochet, triple crochet that I did for the very first time, and then I would go back to the half double crochet. Then
Mm-hmm.
I got to the point where it was like, this is taking too long. So then I did double crochets and triple crochets in the middle of it because her baby was born in the summer. So
Uh-huh.
this blanket, and then I finished on the other side with the other pattern that I did. And if, of course, it's going to be shipped out today. I'm going to get it shipped out, and
Yeah.
so I can get it to that pretty little girl.
Crochet and knitting, there's so very many different things you can do.
Yes.
And I think that it is one of the textile arts that just keeps on giving
It does.
because it wears well and it can it can be an heirloom art if it's
Certainly.
cared for.
And,
And
and besides being a crocheter, knitter. I also know how to embroidery. I also know how to
Mm.
quilt, hand quilt on quilts.
That is becoming a lost art.
It is.
So many people are just going to the machine embroidery, and I don't think it looks near as beautiful as hand quilting.
Definitely. And the thing is that when you're hand quilting, you're using a thicker yarn or thicker string, because when
Mhm.
you if you're thinking about quilting, you need to make sure you're getting quilting thread because it is thicker and it's going to last longer than a sewn quilt. I've got quilts that are already put together that thread is breaking. You
Uh-huh.
know, I'm probably going to have to, with some of these that I do have, I'm probably going to have to put on the quilt frame that I do have and re hand quilt where these are, where they have broken. People think, where you're sewing I don't think it's as good.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that you get a better quality. It's more time consuming for sure, but I think that you get a better quality when you take the time to do it by hand.
I just seen what Katie just put in. Yes, I can see what you guys are putting in the chat because I do have YouTube chat popped out.
Um, we, Katie, I always hold questions till the end of the interview. Uh, we do kind of have an order of things when we do these interviews. I did the same thing when we did your interview.
Yes.
So I'm not ignoring you,
No,
honest.
we're not ignoring you. She just wants to get out as much as she can with what I'm,
A
about.
lot of your questions will be answered during the interview.
Yes.
So, um, so going back to your channel, you talked about how you got started
Yes.
and how you named it. And you've mentioned how you used to do videos and now you're primarily doing shorts and lives.
Yes.
So, when you do your lives, what kind of content do you have when you're on your channel? What are
I'm
you showing?
I'm mainly there's some, like Sunday when I was showing some of the items that I have finished.
Okay,
The baby blanket that I finished for
right.
Faith and her daughter.
Uh-huh,
Showing the baby hat. It has been packaged, so I can't show it here. But
right.
the little baby hat was done on this loom,
Oh, okay.
so it won't fit her long, but it will fit her for a while. And
Right.
of course, I worked on a blanket that I did for Tony and Joni at Creekside Maples and
Hmm.
Creekside Chronicles that I'm going to be shipping, but the package that I have it in is too small. Yes, I got it in there, but it ain't going to work to ship it to them. Uh, that blanket, I didn't count how much time it took me to do because I was working on it and then I stopped for maybe 2 weeks
Hmm.
that I finished that one. It is a king size, which of course is smaller than a king, California king.
Right.
And it's a thicker yarn also that I
Right.
did their blanket in. Um, I've I've shipped lots of blankets to other people, like throws, more like lap blankets and things like that.
Yeah.
It's
So your lives are more show and tell,
yes.
um,
Now
chatting about
there's
upcoming
times
projects.
I'll make these. I may make hats. I only go live for an hour. Uh,
Okay.
where I'll be making a hat I used to, on some of my lives, is I would bring up a person, I would send them the link, and we would go live and make their hat. Took me 2.5 hours
Uh-huh.
while I'd make their hat. Well, nobody has requested. I tell them to email me if you want to get your hat made live, and I let them talk about their channel.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a cool thing.
It certainly is.
So, so if anybody is interested in getting a hat, now do you, when somebody reaches out to you and asks for a hat, do you charge them for those hats
Uh,
or
if they want to gift, if like when I'm doing a fundraiser, when I was doing the fundraiser for the car, I would charge for those hats, and they would donate, and then they'd get the hat, and they would help.
okay.
I've started charging for them, and the regular beanies I'm now charging $25, and that is with
That's
shipping. That is with
that's
shipping.
reasonable.
It
Shipping
is,
and the yarn is expensive.
it is, and it's costing now to send one of those small packages that I send now about $6 to $7 to a person. Now,
Right. And then the,
if it's upon my heart that I'm saying, okay, I'm I feel like I need to give you a hat, those people will still send me, to PayPal or money to me to help out, because they know I'm on disability. I don't
right.
have the funds to be able to do $7 each time I'm sending out a hat and scrubbies. I send scrubbies with them also, because to send just two scrubbies is $5.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is just in a little package, but yeah, it's $5. So I end
That's a
up
lot.
putting scrubbies in with the hats. So that 20, if they're paying me for it, and it's like people will, you know, go to my PayPal and put some money in there. Like when I sent to England with Paul Honeyman, he paid to my PayPal to help, and he now wants me to make him a baby blanket for his daughter's baby. And he's, of course, going to pay me, and I'm going to let him choose how much he thinks that's worth.
Right.
So, yes, I've got a commission for a baby blanket for a little cot. He called it a cot,
Right.
so I'll be doing that for him,
That's really cool.
so.
Yeah. So then there's people can reach out to you and purchase from
Yes,
you, but
yes.
not necessarily always going to be charged.
No,
It depends on what is laid on your heart and what the
true,
project is.
true. Because
Okay.
people that have, I've said, hey, I want to make you a hat. I'm not going to charge them for that hat because
Right.
that's for
Right.
me. But if they're asking a commission, if they want one of the long knitted hats, those, like I said, take 6 hours.
Yeah.
And it's, everybody says, yes, my time is worth something, and if
Absolutely.
someone can't pay the, like the $35, if they can pay less, that's okay. It's, I understand there's people that are struggling just like me. And that money, people that send me money or put into my PayPal, it goes for shipping, it goes for paying for yarn. I do not use that personally for myself. I don't,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
That's
pretty
really
cool.
cool. So do you have any future plans for um, new projects or anything different on your channel
I
at
I
this
want to I want
point?
to get some space set up um, where I can set up the I have a quilting frame that's in my bedroom. That's not set up, of course, because my bedroom's not big enough. That
Right.
I want to do something across here where that thing moves, where I can set up a quilting frame, and maybe have my brother help me figure out how to, you know, have the cameras over there where people can watch me hand quilt. But
That would be awesome.
some other things are going to happen to be able to do that.
Right.
because
Okay.
that shelf would have to be moved because that quilting frame is pretty long, and then the chairs that are
Uh-huh.
back there would have to, of course, be moved. And,
Okay.
it'd be
Okay.
nice to be able to start doing that, where I can have, showing hand quilting.
That would be so cool.
It would.
Now, what what do you need to be able to accomplish that goal?
Reorganizing this living room up here, because this is the living room.
Oh, okay.
Things there would be things that would have to be moved out.
Oh, okay. So
You know,
there's no like equipment that you need
no,
to be able to do.
I have the frame. It's just figuring out how to reorganize what we have up here in the living room to set that quilt frame up
Okay.
to be able to do that back there. Where people are able to watch me hand quilt on a quilt.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be so cool to watch.
Oh, it definitely would. You know, I I could do it like for an hour or something like that and be able to just
Right.
work on it because it's a lot of work to doing that.
It is. It
you
is.
know you have to make
When
lines on there of how you're going to quilt this thing. And
when I worked at the Historical Society, we were celebrating the centennial of the building that we were in, and we had this beautiful, beautiful quilt for a raffle that we were making, and I had opportunity to help hand quilt it, and that was time consuming and so much fun. But we had it set up on a big, huge frame in the building where volunteers could come in and help quilt it. And I know how much space they take.
at the senior center, there is a quilt frame that is set up that you can go there and quilt on that. But I
Hmm.
haven't done that yet, and it's a certain day that they do that, and I could probably learn a lot more because I had never hand quilted before. And the picture, if you're on a TV, you're able to see a quilt that was
Hmm.
a 3 panel that I embroidered while I was recovering from a knee surgery. Was a called a Lone Star pattern, and it was 3 panels that were put together that I had I sewed that together
Hmm.
and then hand quilted that. That took me 11 months.
Oh, wow.
So if you look at that thing that is hanging up, Devil Dog, I sent him that picture and he hung that up. And if you're on a TV, you can see that quilt
Oh,
that
okay.
is put away. I don't have it on my bed. Um, I have a. If you've ever seen me in my room, there's this bar that's up there. I've got to reorganize because of that quilt frame that's in my bedroom. It's not outside. I have this bar that I had the Amish make for me that I'm going to hang that quilt on that bar, and I'm going to get some vinyl, clear
Uh-huh.
plastic to put over it and seal it where you can see
Oh,
more of that blanket because I don't really want to put it on my bed, where
yeah.
it's a full size bed, and it's for a king or queen size blanket that it was, so I can't put it
Yeah.
on that bed, but I want to have it hanging, so people can see it, so
Yeah.
I'm going to drape that plastic over it and then put double sticky tape to seal it off of
Yeah.
that blanket. My
That would
quilt.
be cool.
You know, different.
So, um, outside of the knitting and the embroidery and quilting, are there any other hobbies that you have?
Working on cars.
Working on cars?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Now, that is a surprise. I would never, ever have guessed that.
Yeah. Yes, I have.
Tell us about this.
Well, when you're struggling and you can't afford mechanics, you know, now the car that I do have, it's a little bit different because I'm not used to foreign cars, which I have a that Toyota. I know how to replace spark plugs. I know how to replace certain things like that. We've had, when I was, of course, married, we had older vehicles that I would replace radiators when they would stop, they would be leaking. I would replace water pumps. You know, I even had a van that the intake manifold was leaking. There's a place here in Columbia that you can go and rent a space to work on your own vehicles.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And the person that used to own it, he was close to where we lived. And I took my van over there and did an intake manifold gasket replacement on it. I had never gotten that far into an engine before. But yes, I learned how to do that. And then some other people taught me they had to get the timing back in. So they went over there and got my timing back into time, and then the vacuum lines back where they needed to be on
Uh-huh.
this van. But yeah, I did that. I've replaced drum brakes on vehicles when I was sitting on the ground on plywood
Uh-huh.
where I lived. You know, my father was a master mechanic. That's what his job was.
My dad was a mechanic
His,
too.
his he says his daughters, if they're going to learn how to work on vehicles. So I learned how to do those things.
I grew up handing my dad tools, getting
Oh
right up
no,
on.
I did the work. I literally,
Well,
I did the
my
work.
dad didn't never really help have us do the work, but I was right up under the hood, sitting on the engine, handing him tools and asking questions. And I can identify the problem on a lot of things just by the sound.
Oh yes.
But as far as getting in there and actually doing the work, there's a few things I could probably do, but I can identify, I can diagnose, and I know the tools, but that's awesome that you can actually do the work.
I can do the work.
That is, and you're self-taught.
Yeah.
That is incredible.
And then of course
Wow.
when I worked, you know, I hung mini blinds for people, you know, in their homes. I know how to paint. I can paint my own home. I can I can replace a toilet. Yeah, the whole
That
toilet.
is,
You know,
yeah.
I I know a lot of different things that I can do that people are like, "What?" I helped my sister Christine put up a fence.
I've helped a lot of fence
Privacy,
building.
a privacy fence. Yes, I helped her.
Yeah.
You know, her husband wasn't doing it, and we started. You know, and I always had such a good way of seeing, you know, where the lines were and getting it straight. And yeah, we started, and then he of course took over and finished because those two sisters started doing it. You know, it's like, hey, but yeah, I've I've put up chain link fencing. I know how to do that. I used to own goats.
Wow.
There's lots of things that I've
We are learning some incredible things about you today, Miss Rebecca.
not a problem.
This is awesome.
And of course, I've trained my own dogs to be my service dogs. People say, "Oh, you can't train your own service dog." Denver, when we found him, he became my brace dog. You know, to help me get up when I fell, and that dog would just come right over and help me get up. You know, it was amazing. You know, and you know they say, "Oh, you have to have them trained by professionals and stuff." And when I took Denver with, or when I took Blue to the meetup that Chris Texas Raider met him. He did the same thing. He would make sure I was doing okay. And there's Blue. Or that's Blue. And there he goes down. Good boy.
Yeah,
Such a good dog.
that's awesome.
It's
You know, need or necessity uh, will encourage you to do things that you wouldn't otherwise do, especially when you don't have the funds to do it any other way.
yes.
There's so many things.
In fact, I was watching some of the videos that people had, and Ronald had Blue next to another dog that was professionally trained, and he did nothing. He sat there waiting for Ronald to walk with him.
Uh-huh.
Being such a good boy. It's like, wow.
That's awesome.
He is. Blue is an awesome dog. He's a lab English Mastiff cross, but he didn't get the height I wish he had because he's a little short to help me get up, but he has helped me get up.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
Sure. But yeah, I've even homed 9 Siberian Huskies. They're an active breed. Yeah.
Wow.
So I've raised rabbits as show rabbits.
Okay.
I've sold rabbits. Not that a lot of people like to hear this, but there's sometimes rabbits have to be culled because they're not show quality.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice way of putting what I have done in the past, but I don't have rabbits now. I'd like to eventually have some here, but funds are tight, because how much they charge for that food. I've now learned different ways of feeding rabbits where you buy hay, instead of the pellets,
Uh-huh.
and things like that. But it's a little bit harder,
Right. Well,
Yeah.
the day will come. If it's something that you desire, you'll have it.
I'll have it again. And, it's another source for my brother and I to eat,
Right.
A lot of people say, oh, rabbits are cute, but a lot of people don't know this, but rabbit is lower in cholesterol than what pork is.
Okay.
It's healthier for us. I didn't know that until, when I first started getting rabbits and stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, oh, I won't eat a rabbit. And I'm like, you don't know what you're missing.
If you're hungry, you'll eat.
Oh, yes.
I know my husband has talked about growing up there in the Ozarks, and they ate squirrel. They ate a lot of things that, having not grown up in that lifestyle, we would turn our noses up at. We would think, ew, that's just gross. But he says they're the things that he grew up eating. He's like, it's pretty darn good. Okay. I'll have to take your word for it because I've never experienced it.
That's my brother Ronald. He's getting
Come on, Denver.
He's getting the dogs to take him out.
Hey, Ronald.
Hi.
Yeah, there. We have two male dogs, Denver and Blue, and then we have, of course, 2 cats. We have, and Jane Doe. I'll let Ronald know you said hi to him. We have 2 cats that were rescues. There was a young lady that used to go on the internet and said she would take your barn cats. How I ended up getting BB is because she would get these cats. We would go and pick up the cats that the people had collected, and then we'd get them fixed. Well, BB, my black cat,
Uh-huh.
we had them in the 48 by 48 or 48 by 32 dog crates stacked in another room. And BB got out. I had a feral cat in my house, loose. So I'm like, how am I going to catch this cat? Because he's not coming out. He's hidden himself. I went outside and got the live bait trap, put a can of tuna in there, shoved it all the way back, and closed my bedroom door. And he finally got in that crate, in that live bait trap,
Uh-huh.
and he got tamed. I decided, because he had already gotten out, get him fixed. I got him microchipped, and he is my mouser. So he
That's
catches
cool.
he catches my mice in my house. I'm grateful to him.
Right.
So that's, and now he's become loving, and like, okay, Mom, I'm ready to get up on your lap, and yeah. So that's how we got BB. And Gigi, which is, her name is just Gigi, means
Uh-huh.
gray girl. She was kind of the same thing of kittens that this lady had gotten. And every time Gigi, I would have people come over to my home, and they would adopt the kittens, and pay me a little bit of money, and they would take the kittens. I would have a certificate for them to take them to go get fixed.
Uh-huh.
I would pay for those, and then they would take them and they'd get them fixed. And so that's how we got those kittens. Well, Gigi kept hiding. She said, "No, this is my home. This is my home. I'm not leaving." That's how we ended up keeping Gigi.
Right.
Then the pandemic happened. 2 years I listened to her. She never got pregnant. 2 years. Listen to her hollering. Like, okay. Finally, of course, we know the pandemic stopped, and I was finally able to get her fixed.
Oh, that's great.
Everybody says, "Oh, she's going to get pregnant." Oh, no, she's not. She's not getting out of this house.
Yeah.
That isn't going to happen.
Mhm.
I'm feeling that because of us having the cats here that we have, that cat outside feels okay being around my house.
Yeah.
And if she's catching the mice around outside, I'm thankful. I know I have not started
Right.
feeding. I haven't started feeding her. And maybe
Yeah.
I should. I just don't know.
It's the fastest way to tame them.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But
But the problems is that I live out in the country, and there is raccoons out there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, at this point, I would like to go ahead and open up the chat for questions. So if you have any questions that have not been answered by the interview, go ahead and drop them in the chat, and we
I
will
don't know.
have Rebekah.
I don't know if Kathy's asking me. This one is about growing vegetables in containers.
I think that was directed at Kristen. She's been carrying on a conversation with Kristen about her
Okay.
garden.
Oh, okay. I do have a container on our porch that
Oh, okay.
some people, when our mother was, of course, alive, we went to Sam's Club, and they had a plastic container that came from Israel. It is sitting on my porch, and I have planted lettuce, radishes, and different things like that.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
so I have done that. This year I did not, because of at the farmers market. Because I'm on disability, I do get SNAP or EBT. That card I use at the farmers market exclusively, because of the farmers market, they will match. I tell them I
Nice.
want $60, and they give me 35 of a tokens, and then 25 of another tokens, that I'm able to increase how much more I can buy at the farmers market,
That's
instead of
wonderful.
going to the store and only having $100, and then $100 is gone. And I can
Yeah,
buy meat, I can buy vegetables, fruits, honey,
that's wonderful.
so I am in Missouri. I'm literally smack dab in the middle of the state of Missouri. I checked it. I says, what's the smack dab in the middle of Missouri? And that's exactly where I live.
Front and center.
Front and center, right in the middle. So,
Logan was from right on the border, down around the Springfield area, Mountain Home, Arkansas area.
okay.
That was his stomping grounds.
I am literally 30 minutes from the state capitol. Just not saying if it's north or south.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
I did want to do something, if it's okay, while we're waiting for people to ask questions.
Okay.
I gifted 2 hats on Making It Home, Lauren and Joel, and Debbie Drock, if I'm saying her name correctly. She sent me this beautiful card.
Okay.
I don't think I'm going to show what she put that there. She sent me this card.
Oh, that's very beautiful.
So I wanted to read this, and yes, I am going to cry.
Okay.
It's,
We'll cry with you.
thank you. But yeah, what she did is she said, "Hello, Rebekah. I hope you are well. I wanted to let you know that I did receive the hat, scrubbies, and coasters in the mail." Well, it's not really a coaster, but you can use it for that. "I love them so much, and I am looking forward to being totally toasty warm this coming winter. I am so proud to become a part of the growing community of Rebekah hats. I feel so blessed."
That's
But I
awesome.
started losing it.
That's
I
awesome.
also thank you, and to pay it forward, I am enclosing some postage, to help you keep sending hats to others. You are sending so much joy out to so many people. Again, thank you so much,
That's
Debbie.
beautiful.
It just, and of course, one of these days I've never done where you have a little book where you put these in there. I need to do that, because I've got a whole bunch of them sitting in manila folders, that people have sent me.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Bushcraft family came in.
Yes, I was just going to welcome Charles from Bushcraft Family. I'm very
Yeah.
grateful to have you here.
Yeah, it warms my heart when people enjoy what I have made. And of course, because she's married, or not Debbie, but someone else, that I didn't just send her a hat, I sent her husband a hat. Because it's like the whole family needs to have a hat.
Right.
I just don't do it for the husband and wife. Yes. Visited Missouri.
He was
I have
asking.
not. I have not yet, but I definitely want to. I definitely want to go there.
Okay. Um, Are there any other questions that you'd like to ask Rebekah about mechanicking or quilting, embroidery, uh, her family, working in the Job Corps?
I became I learned to, they were trying to do typing in my, I now understand why I had so much problem with eye hand coordination. It's because of a stigmatism that I have that I didn't find out until I was 30. Yes, my right eye has astigmatism and my left one doesn't. And they finally had to put me in bifocal or trifocals so that
Oh, okay.
I could get all three. I have a MSQ on my bucket list too. Oh, I don't know what MSQ means.
That would be the Missouri State.
Oh, okay, yeah, I definitely want to. I want to go there. You know, I have a back there in one of those little containers that I have behind me. I have a quilt that my sister, Christine, put together. She embroidered the flowers of each from January to December. And
Oh,
she put this pink, let me go get it. I'm going to go get it.
okay.
I want to show that. Stay, Deborah.
While we're waiting for the Rebekah, and while we're waiting for more questions, what is the most fascinating thing you've learned about Rebekah today?
Yes, I will. I'm not going to completely unfold this, but this is the thing that I need to quilt for my niece. See that?
Oh, that's beautiful. How lovely.
Here's January. I think what my sister was going to do was
Carnation.
she was going to put the birth dates, write that on there. But yeah, that's January, but she embroidered these.
Yeah. I know carnation for January because January is my birthday.
July is mine, and I think it's larkspur.
Okay.
But yeah, I noticed on the back side of this, because I've never really quilted. I noticed that she did not lay down her seams when she sewed this.
Uh-huh.
So it's going to make it a little bit harder. I can show you there. You've got to press those seams down. But I'm just going to try to do the best I can to quilt this for her and give it to her daughter.
Okay.
And I picked this up at the Amish. This has not been washed, and I know this has been washed. You can tell by the feel of it. This has not been washed, and I've got to wash this because this is the backing that I'm
Yeah.
going to use, and I need to have it shrunk. But yeah, I put it in here, and I've got the batting all ready for it. It's just getting this thing set up so I can start quilting it for them.
Very cool.
So that'll just keep it clean. And yeah, that's what I'm going to be quilting. And then, of course, in a trunk, my grandmother had 9 pattern quilts that she never finished the tops, that I'm going to have to combine them together because they were never finished.
Oh, okay.
And right now I don't have a sewing machine, so am I going to stitch these by hand? I don't know, but I need to get some information about how to be able to do that
Yeah.
and finish what my grandmother didn't finish.
Yeah.
You know, so it's little things like that. You know, that I think my grandmother would be probably pretty proud. You know, once I do get it done, it's a 9-block pattern.
No pitter patters. No. No. No, 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 no. Find something else to do. You're not allowed on mommy's computer table.
Yeah, Gigi gets up on the place where blue lays, and she'll start walking across, and I go, and she stops. Like, yeah, they want to walk across the keys and mess things up.
Yeah, they're fascinated by the live, and they want to
Yeah,
see what's moving on the screen.
yeah,
Whether
yeah.
I'm on my phone or on the computer, they want to be part of it. And that's just not allowed. So,
Oh, that's colder than I like it.
so do we have any other questions for Rebekah? Or does anybody want to tell what their
Oh,
most fascinating fact about Rebekah that you've learned today?
where is Katie? She says across the pond.
She is in Greenland.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
That would be so nice. You know, be able to, maybe once I get things straightened up around this house, having people over here and teaching them how to quilt, passing on my knowledge. You know what I mean? That's what we need to do. And that's one of the reasons I started my channel, was to show people how to make these knitted hats, make the scrubby.
Yeah.
Because once I'm not here, who's going to take up the mantle and learn how to do this? I've got probably over 2,500 hats that I've made.
Wow. That's incredible.
Because when I, with a humanitarian thing, I did baby hats for the hospital. I made baby hats for the hospital. I made hats that went to overseas with a church I used to belong to, and stuff. The thing I've never crocheted a hat. The thing is with the crocheting a hat, you've got to have that person to know what size their head is. With the hats that I make, they stretch because they're knit. It's considered knitting, even though you're doing it on a round loom. It's knitting because it's a knit and a purl on the backside. It stretches. Those hats give, so they fit everyone. Now, I have bigger looms for people with bigger heads, that I have to end up using. To making ones that are for people that have much larger heads than me.
Yeah.
Just amazing. Yeah. But is there, I know people, I don't usually talk about this, but I did have 2 children.
You did what?
I did have 2 children that I put up for adoption. They're 2 boys. I don't know where they are,
Okay.
So yes, I have been a mother, but because of circumstances.
You still are.
I still am,
You still are.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to make choices.
Yes.
And other people are not always going to understand those choices.
No.
But we do what we feel is in the best interest.
Yes.
Of our children.
Yes.
And it's not always easy.
No. But they're out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And it doesn't change your love for them.
No, it doesn't.
In fact, it took a lot of love to do that.
It certainly did. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing
Ooh,
that.
not a problem. There's people out here that do know that. And I figured you didn't know.
No, I didn't.
You know, it's a part of my past that I don't go into details of what happened, but I was a mother. I'm still a mother. I'm a
You
birth
are.
mother. I'm a birth mother. You know,
Right.
maybe one of these days I will see my sons. I don't know if I ever will. And if
Right.
it's not meant to be, it's okay. Because they're I feel that they're healthy. They're doing okay, and you know,
Right.
you know. But yeah, it's like wow. I have
Well,
enjoyed this so much.
I I have too, and I've learned so much about you that I never knew. And that's the whole point of doing these interviews, is to get to know the person behind the camera, and also to promote your channel. Um, I think that getting to know the person behind the camera helps us to connect on a little bit more personal note, like you having the mechanic background and your dad being a mechanic. My dad was a mechanic too, and that just forms that little extra bond there, and it just kind of makes us that much closer when we watch each other's videos. And
Yes.
that's my goal when I do these interviews, is to uh, just kind of knit that little extra connection between each other.
Well, it's kind of like I've got to figure out where I can find the bad thing about the car that I have. There's only 2 years you can find headlights for it. I'm going to have to end up buying new ones because the ones that I have on there are so faded. Yes, we've used the buffing thing and trying to sand them
Uh,
off, but it's not getting any brighter. So yeah, and
uh,
there's only 2 years that you can find it. And my car is a '98, and
okay.
they only made that body style in '98 and '99.
Oh,
Yeah.
getting
So
harder and harder to
you're
find.
going to have to end up buying new ones somewhere to put in the headlights. Headlight assemblies on the car.
Yeah.
So I'll get that done. And because it's a Toyota, you can't get them from the parts houses.
Oh, okay.
I have to go to Amazon or something like that to be able to do that for that make and model of car.
Oh,
I was
okay.
able. It was strange. I was able to get the side marker light from AutoZone, but I couldn't get the headlight.
Hmm.
What? Strange. Yes, I seen that Ronson said that. He thinks it's really cool. That
I
just
think a lot of us are very impressed.
impressed. Yeah.
Hmm.
You do what you have to do when you don't have the money to have someone work on your car. You
Absolutely.
do what you have to do, and there is a no can do quit attitude in the Davis family. You know, it's like you do what you have to do.
You
You know,
absolutely do.
you know. Rebecca, did you ever get the look when you walked into?
Oh, I know the look. I
Okay.
have put some men in their place on a
Oh,
few of
I
the
have
cars.
to.
Oh,
Yeah, I have to.
boy, you don't tell this gal she don't know what she's talking
You
about
know,
when you walk
no,
in.
no, you don't. You definitely don't. You
I owned, let's see, what year was it? An 85 or an 86 Audi 5000S. And I don't know if you know anything about an Audi, but that particular model anyway was a 5-speed, 5-cylinder.
Oh, wow.
You walk into a parts house and you tell them when you're about to do a tune up on it, you need 5 spark plugs. And they look at you like you've got 10 heads. And they're like, they'll ask you, well, how many cylinders? And you say, 5. It's a 5 cylinders, 5 speed. They don't make 5 cylinder. Yes, they do. Would you like to walk outside with me and take a look? And they did. And they're like, oh, okay. Well, I guess they do. Let's go get your parts. And that was an NAPA. And they knew my dad. I was getting parts under his account so that I'd get a discount. Happens all the time when I walk in there and I know exactly what I need. And I tell them and they're like, well, and I'm like, this is what I need. They look it up. Oh, I guess you do.
It's crazy. It is, because they always think, oh, men are mechanics. No, women are too.
Yeah, okay. I can imagine that might happen. The same thing happens when a man walks into a quilt shop. They get asked, are you with your wife?
Yes.
I wonder how often that happens. Thank you for being here, Deanna. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I wonder if that happens to Randy, Missouri Outlaw Quilter.
Yeah.
I wonder if that happens to him.
Now it's my time says that it's 3:33.
Okay, I still have 1 hour till I have to leave the house.
Yeah,
so.
that's right. I'm an hour ahead of you.
Right. I have 1 hour and I have to be out the door.
Yeah. But I know that people looked at me like really strange. I had a 1997 truck.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Chevy 1-ton 4x2.
Okay.
Most people don't know what they mean when you say 4x2, because they say, oh, 4x4. No, it's a 4x2. So that means it's a 2-wheel drive. It was a C on those vehicles. They would put either a C or K. K meant 4-wheel drive. C meant 2-wheel drive.
Okay.
Mine was not. Mine was a 4x2. So that means it had 4 wheels, 2-wheel drive. There is not a lot of 4x2s in a crew cab with an 8-foot bed. It was more that they would be dualies, but mine was a 4x2. In 2021, I was sitting at a stoplight with that truck, and you've got a 1-ton truck sitting at a stoplight. You know how slow they move when you put on the gas? Slow.
Pretty slow.
Pretty slow. I was at a stoplight waiting for the light to change. There is this hill that comes down off of Business Loop that these kids weren't paying attention. They broadsided my 1-ton truck. Bent the frame on a 1-ton truck.
They had to have been flying.
The speed limit is 35.
They had to have been flying.
They hit me with a 2017 Ford Expedition. So they were equally kind of yoked, those two vehicles. They hit up in the front wheel. Didn't hit my door because I'm getting ready to move, because as an older lady, you're going to count 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 before you put on the brake. I'm looking over there to see if there's anyone coming. There's no one coming, so I move out. They literally pushed my truck like this, bent the frame, ruined. Now, I know about cars. It had a Hydro Boost brake system. They broke the lines on the Hydro Boost system, so there's that leaking. The radiator's leaking. The motor oil's leaking. Once my I had full coverage on the truck. And basically, they said it was going to be $6,000 to fix my truck. My neck got worse. I was having neck problems. I told the story about my neck problem, what happened on my live Sunday.
Oh, okay.
So if I'm trying to put them back to my channel, go and watch that, because I did that at the beginning of why I cannot turn. I can turn this one back this way and see back over my left shoulder, but my right shoulder I cannot.
Okay.
So when I got hit, I was having neck problems already. It got a little worse. So I went to orthopedic, and they sent me to a nurse practitioner first. She didn't tell me what was all wrong with my neck. And then I said, there's still some more problems. I go to a chiropractor to get my neck adjusted. I never had, where you have the discs between your vertebrae. Disc between 1 and 2 never grew. Genetic problem.
Wow.
Yeah. So I believe in the Lord. Your neck will fuse. So that's why you see, that's as far as I can look to the right, because of that neck being fused on this side.
Okay.
God makes more bone to give you stability. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what he does, So if you ever see me doing this, it's because my neck's kind of tightening up a little bit.
Yeah.
But
I understand that.
like, you don't know what's going on. I didn't know this until 2021, what was going on with my neck.
Yeah.
So.
And that brings up a pretty valid point. When you're listening to creators talk and you hear about Miss Rebekah, myself, and we say, we're disabled, and then you see us doing things, never assume that you know the story. Never assume. Because most disabilities, I would say, are invisible.
Yes.
And invisible disabilities are just as real as visible disabilities.
I think when, people see the handicap plates on my car, yes, I do have a placard also, but they see me get out of my car, they look at my knees, they know I'm disabled. And the reason that I have the knee problems is because of something that happened when I was 9 between my brother and I. Of course, back then, they didn't know about autism. Back in the 70s, they didn't know. Ronald was supposed to keep in touch with me. We were in Mexico, and I went 10 feet down onto some concrete and broke my left ankle, which then shifted my growth plates forward in my knees. My left knee has not been fixed, and I have to think about how I stand, because I can hyperextend my knee, my left knee. My right one I can't now, because they did a realignment. Yes, I had a surgery. And so there is a scar on my left leg, on my right leg, that people think I had a knee replacement. No, they realigned that where you have that indentation below my knee on the right. The left one hasn't been done. And I'm trying to lose a lot of weight before that has to be done, or if I never have to have it done. So I don't want, they said, they already told me that it will be a knee replacement. And I want to keep, as I put it, my God parts.
Right.
As long as I can.
I have 2 artificial hips. I had no choice. I'd be bedridden if I didn't have 2 artificial hips. And yeah, so
Wow.
there's a lot to my backstory. That it's a miracle I'm walking as well as I do, and that I'm up and able to do the things that I do, that I'm able to care for these kitties and have a garden. I am a literal walking miracle. And I say walking miracle. And I give God the glory for all of that.
I do too. You know, you just
So,
you just keep moving. You know, you don't stop moving. You know, when you're disabled, you keep moving. You know, and
right.
it makes it harder. You know, and to be able to do what I do. You know,
Yeah.
and thanks to Ann Dale, she's been making it a lot easier because I get her uh, castor oil and cayenne that
Uh,
I rub on my knees, and it helps. It helps here, you know, because of that neck problem I have.
oh, that's awesome.
And because of Nancy, we started doing mushroom complex, and it keeps me more awake. You know,
Uh,
it keeps my brain more engaged. One of the reasons that I keep my hands busy is because it keeps my brain engaged. That's why you're always everybody seeing me making something, is because
right.
it keeps me engaged with people. You know, that's who I am.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
That's great.
it certainly is.
So, do we have any questions in chat? Let's see.
Wow, 65% lung capacity.
Well,
They
okay,
they thought
that's
they thought I had asthma, but it wasn't that. It's more. I don't remember what the name of the lung disease is, but there is a certain lung disease that is genetic that I do have, and when it's hot outside, no, I don't go in out when it's really hot, you know,
uh
because it gives me a little bit of problem in breathing. So
I do have asthma, and I'm also allergic to smoke. Very allergic. Being around smoke has put me in the emergency room before,
wow,
and so I have to be very careful. But I'm a lot better now than I used to be.
that's good.
So,
Yeah,
but I understand about having reduced abilities to breathe. It can be scary when you're grasping for air.
for sure. I think that Greenland, you know, they probably don't have a lot of bad, you know, pollution. I'm hoping not, anyway.
Yeah,
I do know that living out in the county is a lot better than living in the city because of all the cars and congestion that there is, and
yeah.
you know. There we go. And yes, it's just water. That's all I
Yeah,
drink. That's all I drink.
yeah.
You know, I don't know where my subscriber, or as I don't call them subscribers. They're my friends. They're my family.
Yeah.
I don't know where my channel is right now, but my birthday's coming up,
Oh, okay.
July 26th. I would like
Okay.
I would like to be to 1,000 before my birthday.
Okay. Well, let's see.
If we get to 1,000 before my birthday, there's going to be a surprise on my birthday.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Let's
I think the
see
last
where
time I
you
looked, I
are.
was at 962. May as well let all of you know. And my birthday's on a Saturday this year, so there's gonna be a surprise. Thank you. She's saying happy birthday, but my birthday's July 26th.
Okay.
There goes Ronson putting up my link. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you.
I want to get to 1,000, and I'm not this is one thing that everybody keeps saying. I'm not going to be monetizing my channel. I don't care about watch hours. That does not bother me if I don't have watch hours.
Okay.
So everybody wants me to get watch hours. Doesn't bother me. I'm not going to monetize. So watch hours doesn't bother me. I don't.
Right now, Rebekah is sitting at 961 subscribers. She needs 39, 39 subscribers before July 26th. We can do this. We have 1 month. We can do this for Miss Rebekah. She is one of the best moderators, one of the best and most loyal moderators, one of the best and sweetest friends that I have. I've met through YouTube. And you ask her to do something for you, and she is there. So sweet, so loyal, so dedicated. And let's do this for Miss Rebekah. Let's get her there. Share her channel out. If you have not subscribed and her content is something that would be of interest to you, please go and subscribe. Let's get her there. That's 39. We can do this.
Well, I had 963, so there's some ones that probably YouTube's checking out.
Yeah.
Probably.
Probably.
But yeah, we're gonna try to get me there, and yes, there's going to be a celebration. Because everybody knows when I have my birthday, what ends up happening. I don't get gifts. I give gifts.
Okay. Okay.
I give gifts. I don't receive. I give
That's
out.
awesome.
I give out. Awesome. There's some people that have sent me yarn, and I'm like, oh my gosh, so much more yarn. Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm still sub to her. Yes.
Well, I'll tell you, every now and then, especially when you're starting to get close to that magic number, whatever it may be, whether it's the 250, 300, 500, whatever that number is, when you're starting to get close, YouTube goes on a rampage and starts clearing house, and they start getting rid of your less active subscribers, and you'll see your numbers drop by 5, 10, 15, and then you have to start getting them back, and it's frustrating. But
that's what it's all about, spreading the love. That's what that's what my channel's all about, is spreading what I make to give to other people. To me, I don't even look at what my watch hours are. I don't at all. That's not what my channel's about. It's about blessing people with something that I have made, that has been placed on my heart. And if they can't pay, it's okay. It's fine, because there's other people that do. That's what. So.
Yeah. Well, we're going to, together as a community, we are going to get you there. 39 is not very many.
That's not very many.
And we're going to spread the word, and we are going to get you over the top. So
I will. I when it gets closer to my birthday, I'm not going to look at what my count is. You know, we'll see what it says. And like I was saying, every Sunday at 2:00 Central Standard Time, I will be live. I'm making that commitment now because every Sunday I will be going live.
Okay.
So yeah, I know. There's people that do want to be monetized, and I don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. So I'm going to continue to do what I do.
Well, I just looked at mine, and I actually look at my views more than I do my watch hours. My next mini goal is to reach it was to reach 500 subscribers and 35,000 views before I do another giveaway. And I'm over 5,000 or 5,500. I'm at like 518 as of today, and 32,040 views. So I need 3,000 more views, and we'll be doing a giveaway on my channel.
Wow.
So I just need to get my views, and we'll be having another party on my channel. So
I didn't think that I had this on here. Yeah, I do. This, I'm trying to think who I sent this blanket to, and I don't remember.
Oh, that's pretty.
You know, it's interesting how we forget where we sent certain blankets, to people. This is a blanket that I made somebody, and now I can't remember who it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like once the hats leave me, I forget what they got because it's kind of out of my mind,
Yeah. Oh, it'll come to you.
It'll come to me. And then, of course, there's other pictures that I've taken off of here and put it into the computer so that I can put it into folders that I haven't done yet. Just different things like that I've made. Oh, wow, almost 2 hours. That's like me.
Yeah, I just noticed that.
I'm hoping that there's some people that want some hats from me that will email me and come up on a live. Where I'll send you a link and where you come up on my panel like I've done with Karma, and we'll sit and talk, and I will be making your hat while we're sitting there. You talk about your channel. People connect with you. I really enjoy doing that. I used to enjoy being able to be in someone's chat that doesn't know anything about me and ask them what their favorite color is. And I'm in my room and I'm looking at the yarn, and I get this feeling that that's the yarn I need to use for your hat. It's like when Jack Dyer, when I sent, I was there at that YouTube meetup with Christine and Johnny, and I started her hat, and when she got it, she put it next to her coat, and she said it exactly matched her coat that I've never seen.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
It's like, how does that happen? I don't know. Because I had picked we had picked colors. I'd sent her pictures of the colors that I had, and then I didn't start making that hat, and it was like, why am I wanting to put these two colors together that someone gave me that yarn at the Gillum's, Tin Killer meetup, that someone brought that yarn to me, and I had the impression to put those two yarns together instead of what I was going to put together. And she didn't see that yarn. It's like, okay, blows my mind. It just blows my mind. Yeah, basically you just email me. My email is in my about page. You email me and we'll go live together. And what I'll do is I'll send you, before we go live, I will send you an old StreamYard link that we can go, and I can show you the different colored yarns that I have. And you can pick out your yarn. You know? And we can make your hat on a live. Yes, it takes about 2.5 hours. You're able to, do your thing and we get together so that we know what yarn you're going to get. I'll make your hat on a live. I love doing those because, I talk about myself and they talk about their channel and people connect with them. Of course, with me not being able to stream it to their channel, and I never do that. We'll go live together and we'll make a hat, and it may be restreamed because some things are being changed with StreamYard. It's like, hey, I want to still do that, and people are connecting and other people come in and see me working on these hats. Now, Belt Loop 29, I don't know if you know him, Gary. He calls me the yarn ninja. Paul Case Farms, he calls me the yarn czar. Like, okay, people.
Hey, welcome in, Off Grid World.
Hi, Off Grid World.
Nice to have you.
So great. Oh, and there's Lynn, the official Ann Lynn show. Lynn. They know me through Grace and Fire. And
Lynn and Ann will be my guest next week.
Oh, wow. I've got to be there for that one. Look at that. I wish I knew where Gigi was so I could show you that beautiful cat. She's gorgeous.
This is Happy.
Rebekah, I do once a month live with crocheting with other creators. Ooh, wow. That would be cool. That would definitely be cool.
Linda. Hello. Kevin, hi.
Hey, Kevin.
Wow.
There's
Everybody's
Linda.
showing up now. Hi. Just to give you a quick recap, we are pushing for Rebekah to get 39 more subscriptions in the next 30 days. Her birthday is coming up on the 26th of July, and it is her goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by her birthday. So please check out her channel. If it is something that is of interest and you are not subscribed to her channel yet, please do subscribe. Awesome, awesome friend, moderator, and creator. Beautiful, beautiful textile artist, and just all around wonderful person.
Thank you.
And so please help her reach her goal. And if it's not your thing, at least share her channel out for other people.
No, I have not, Deanna. I have not, but I did put on the post that this live was going to happen today on my community post. They used to call it community post, but now they just call it post. I did do that, but I feel it's like tooting my own horn when I put, if I'm not going live, I will put that in there, but asking people to subscribe, it's, I want it to be genuine, that people want to be there on my channel. I want it to be generic, people wanting to be there. I know they always talk about that you need to watch a video or just watch one of my shorts because you're going to get to meet Denver and Blue, on those. I did it the wrong way. I was supposed to do it up and down for a short that I did of Denver. He was laying down eating. Let people love that. Watching my dog lay down there and he's laying down eating. Then, of course, Blue, I did a short over there where he was getting ready to eat his birthday breakfast. People just love my dogs. There's times that my cats, when I used to be over there, in my living room, that the cats would come up behind me and he'd tap me on the shoulder like, Mom, pay attention to me. Something else. But yeah, people love the shorts. I need to do some more shorts on my dogs. They're so funny sometimes.
If you are just joining us, please go back and rewatch this. You are going to learn some things about Miss Rebekah that will be a surprise. I was totally blown away and shocked with some of the fun facts that we learned today. Really a fun, interesting chat with Miss Rebekah today. You don't want to miss out on today's conversation. I am still
I think there's the people that are going to be like, what?
Yeah. I'm still shocked.
Hi,
Duncan Family Farm. Welcome in.
Oh,
Welcome
man.
in.
There's more people coming in. Like, yep.
This is kind of a question and answer time, just kind of hanging out for a few minutes. I will have to wrap it up in about 10 minutes so that I can leave and go pick up my husband from work. But if you have any questions for Miss Rebekah, just go ahead and drop them in chat. And please do go back and rewatch from the beginning. You don't want to miss this interview. I guarantee you, this has been probably the most surprising interview that I have done to date. And yeah, it's a fun one. I'm not going to spoil
Some people are going to be very surprised,
Yes. But yeah, if you have any questions for Miss Rebekah before we sign off, just drop it in the chat and we'll have her answer your questions. And then after the live, please go back and hit the thumbs up and leave a comment. If you've watched from the beginning, please let me know what your most fascinating piece of information was that you learned about Miss Rebekah today. I know mine, and I'm
gonna have to go back through this and look at all the comments and make a comment on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have fun.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. And if you have a question you think of later, you're welcome to drop it in the comments, and we'll try to go back and catch them later. I've been really awful lately about catching up with comments that are left. Excuse me. I will tell you, my life is pretty full right now with kittens and cats, and it's hard to keep up with comments, but
you just put about my dad was interesting.
Yeah.
That
very interesting. That was definitely very interesting.
It's part of our history that people don't talk about, and we need to,
right?
Because what was back then, people don't know about now.
Oh, and it would never fly today.
No, it wouldn't.
Off-grid world.
Karma, you are the cat lady. You certainly are.
On my new minivan, I'm getting license plate frames that say, I can't remember if it says I am the crazy cat lady or just crazy cat lady, and it has little cats around the frame. Those should be here Thursday.
My goodness. I found it really interesting to find out that you have to pay your taxes within a certain amount of time. We have 30 days here in Missouri.
Oh, no, 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 no. You don't have,
Oh,
it's not that. You have 3 days to register. You don't
oh,
have to license,
oh, you don't have
but
to
you have
license.
to
Okay.
register.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
how can you register when you don't have the title yet?
Well, that's what you're doing. My situation was totally screwed up because of a clerical error on the part of the seller.
Wow.
Yeah, a clerical error on the part of the seller is what caused my situation.
Oh my.
Normally, what happens is the seller gives you the title that has their name on it. You take that title to the court or to the DMV,
Yeah.
and then they issue you a new title with your name on it. And when you do that, then you pay your sales tax if you're buying private. If you're buying from a dealer, you pay the sales tax when you buy. Um, so I haven't paid my sales tax yet because I haven't been able to get the title in my name yet. They had to take care of their clerical error
Wow.
and get the corrected title
What
so that
is
I
it?
can take the corrected title to the DMV and get
Wow.
the title in my
I
name.
didn't notice on the title that I got from the guy that did have the same name as the person I was buying the car from. But there was a lien on the title. The lien
Yeah.
had been signed off, but it wasn't taken off of that title. So his mother had to send me a paper in the mail, and
Uh-huh.
that had to be fastened to the title when I took it down there, to get it,
Yeah.
so.
Hey, Alfonso.
Hi, Alfonso. This has been so nice. A lot
Yeah.
of people have learned a lot of new things about this lady that they had no clue. Now
That's the whole point of
that I
these
work on
interviews.
cars.
So
But
if you've not been interviewed yet and you have a channel, Deanna, and you would like to be interviewed, please fill out the form, or if you can't find the form, just send me an email and we'll make it happen. It's a lot of fun. It really is a lot of fun. And let's get you on the calendar. Let's make this happen.
let's
I
make this.
can accommodate your schedule, just like I did for Alfonso last week. I can pre-record if you're not available during my normal time of going live. I can accommodate that and meet with you at a time that's convenient for you and pre-record your interview. So don't let the time schedules prevent you from having an interview.
There's Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Do you know how to pronounce her last name?
I believe it's Jukowitz.
Correct.
So
Yes.
you still haven't figured out how to turn on your microphone? Well, um, one of these days we'll get together and I will help you figure that out. She's the one that I did holding the phone, and I was the only one on screen. So yeah, we overcame that situation. We can make it work. We can make it work.
No. Yeah.
So
Yes. And Debbie Drock, I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but that's how I say her name is Debbie Drock. And of course you can't mess up my last name. Nobody can.
it's Devis, right?
Davis.
I know that.
Not Davis. No.
I'm just giving you a bad
I
time.
know you are. Oh. Like, oh my goodness. This has
I
been
threw you for a loop, though.
but you think about something because my father, his mother was full Swedish, and his father was, of course, probably English because we have Swedish. I did the 23andMe DNA thing, And I found out I don't know if it's on my father's side or my mother's father's side, but I am Italian and Eastern European also.
Okay.
And English, German, it surprised me. The Eastern European really surprised me. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I am going to have to wrap this up, but I want to first of all apologize to you for not getting your thoughts for Thursday out on a consistent basis this here recently.
Come down.
But
Come on,
hi Ronald, how are you?
Mine, I can't remember what my ethnicity is, but what I remember is I go two of them at the top, then they stop, and I think there's a 250-year gap, then three more after that begin after that gap that are down further.
Oh,
Yeah.
Teresa
okay.
Hi, Teresa. Yeah, I can't remember what the other stuff was, but that was definitely unusual. 250-year gap. And
there's no DNA.
There's no DNA. Starts off with 2 and then ends up with 3 down here after a
Wow.
gap. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I guess I'm a true Gemini.
Okay.
You know that because I'm split. That's what I chalk it up to.
You're uniquely you.
Oh,
Yeah.
he certainly is.
So, but anyway, so I am pretty sure I will be able to get this week's thoughts for Thursday recorded and out to you this week. We are so close to having the book finished. I believe we're on chapter 12 this week. And there are 15 chapters. When we finish the book, we will have a live discussion for those who are following along and want to. We will come together and we'll talk about what we've studied, what we've learned, the highlights for each of us that have followed along with the study. And then we are going to choose what book we want or what we want to go on to study next. I have a couple of books that I really want to go through and do, but I'd like it to be something that everybody that's following along with me would like to also study. So that's the plan for Thoughts for Thursday. Tomorrow, 3 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Eastern, Talk About It Tuesday with my beautiful co-host Glenda from Grace and Fire. We will be live and no tacos required, but hey, bring them along and snack away if you want. It's just a hangout where we talk about anything and everything that's on our heart for the day. And we have a lot of fun. We really do. The topics are everywhere. You never know what.
Right now.
That's so refreshing.
I'm going to pull out some ground bison, getting it thawed out for tomorrow, and I'm gonna do smash burgers with corn tortillas on it.
Oh, okay.
All
right. Sounds good.
It's going to be with bison.
So, let's see. Talk About It Tuesday tomorrow, 3 p.m. Mountain, 5 p.m. Eastern. Thoughts for Thursday coming up, and then Oh, pretty baby. That looks like our Marley. And then
That's Gigi.
Saturday, Glenda Grayson Fire has her lazy Saturday chat. And then that brings us to Monday, where I will have the official Ann Lynn show here as my guest. And I do hope you'll be back to join me as we meet the beautiful ladies, Anne and Lynn, and learn all about them and their channel.
I don't think I can. I'm sorry, Alfonso. No, I can't send those burgers in the mail.
I don't think they'd make it.
They wouldn't make it. But yeah, this is Miss Gigi.
So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here and supporting Miss Rebekah, and just hanging out with us and having a great time. Thank you so much, everybody in the replay crew, for watching and giving that thumbs up and leaving a comment. Please let us know what your most fascinating fact about Miss Rebekah was from this interview. I'm curious what you found most interesting about Rebekah. This has been a really fun interview, and I appreciate you being here. And with that, I will say goodbye. I've got to go pick up my husband from work now. Thank you, and we will see you next time. Have a great one, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.